So I'll ask you to look at your life, look at your family, look at the school, look at where you work, look at your friendships. Are you the snake? Because everybody can be a snake, and until you realize that, you'll never see the problems in your life. You'll always blame it on someone else. It's old mom and dad. They're too strict. Or I don't like the way they do that at school. Why don't they do it differently? Maybe you're the snake with a rebellious heart. Now, what can you do about that if you are? And that takes me to Genesis 4, where we see Cain and Abel. And Cain offered a sacrifice to God that was not acceptable. And that's a whole other story. But I ask you, is your sacrifice acceptable? Has your sacrifice for your education this year been acceptable? But Cain's wasn't. And God came to him and he said this. He said, don't be so upset. Cain was angry. He said, don't be so upset. If you do well, you'll be okay. That's what God told him. If you do right, you'll be fine. That's all that has to happen. Some of you, if you would just do your homework, you'd be fine. If you would just study for a test, you would be fine. If you would just come in when your mom and dad tells you to, it would be fine. If you would just do your chores without having to be told 10 times, it would be fine. But instead of doing what he should have done to preserve the boundaries and the structure and the order, Cain turns the other way. Cain becomes angry with God. When you become angry with your parents, when you become angry with your teachers, you need to take a long look at the mirror and see where the snake really is. Because most of the time you could just do what's expected of you and things will be fine. That's all your parents really want. Just do what you're supposed to do. That's all we want. Do your homework. Study for your test. Just do what you're supposed to do. And you'll be fine. Do you remember Harry Potter? If you've seen the Harry Potter movies, when he gets up on a table, and there's a big, I forget what movie it is, he gets up on a table and there was a snake there, and he starts talking in English to the snake. And when he gets through, everybody in the whole school, there's not a sound to be said, and he looks around and he says, what's the deal? And they said, you're talking snake talk. I forget what they called it. They had a name for it. Anybody know? What was it?
Parcel tongue.
Parcel tongue. They said you were talking parcel tongue. You could talk the language of the snakes. Nobody else could talk it. That's what's happening to you. The language of the snake. When you are the rebellious one and you think it's mom and dad's fault, or you think it's your brother's fault, or it's that stupid teacher that you have, or that idiotic boss that you have, you are talking parcel tongue. In other words, you are the snake and you don't even recognize it. You just think you're talking English. But everybody else sees the problem. Everybody else sees that you are speaking the language of the serpent.